Today, I am going to fix your English mistakes. 35 of the most common mistakes that I see English learners make time and time again. And here's the interesting thing. Lots of these mistakes are made by proficient and native English speakers. You need to stop saying married with, and I'll explain why. I don't want to hear you say, how is it called? And I certainly do not want to hear you say, I know where is. We'll go through all of this in detail with lots of quizzes, 35 mistakes in total. I'm sure at the very least you are making a handful of these mistakes, if not a fair few. Now, to help you even further, I've put together an ebook that you can download for free right now. It's called 35 Common Mistakes English Learners Make. We go through all 35 topics with more information, quizzes, and extra insights that I simply can't fit into this video today. It's already going to be a very long lesson, but worth your time. To download the ebook, just click the link in the description box or scan that QR code there. I'll send it to your email. The first mistake, I think yes. I hear my students say this all the time, and I know that this is often a direct translation from other languages, but it's just not right in English. We will understand you when you say it, but it's technically not correct. We usually say, I think so. For example, is Catherine coming today? I think so. You can also say, yes, I think she is, or I think she is, yes. You can even just say yes on its own, but not I think yes. Erase that phrase from the English-speaking part of your brain. And an extra note, we don't say I think no in English either. I wonder if you know what we do say. We usually say I don't think so. Does Mark eat meat? I don't think so. You could also say no, I don't think he does, or I don't think he does. No, or even no on its own. Okay, common mistake number 2. Do you ever say, how is it called? Again, this is a direct translation from many other languages, but we shouldn't say it in English. We will understand you, but it's not correct. We also don't say, how do you call it? Do you know which question word we use instead of how? It's what. What is it called? What do you call it? We use what in questions to ask for specific information about something or somebody. What's that called? What is it called when you wake up but can't move your body for a short time? Sleep paralysis would be the answer, I guess. We have a fantastic word with what. Whatchamacallit. It's in the dictionary. We use this word when we can't think of the name of something or even someone. I need a whatchamacallit, a whisk. Remember, it's whatchamacallit, not howdyamacallit. Now remember, when asking about someone or something's name, we also use what. What's she called? What's your dog called? Okay, next up, mistake number 3. I'm married with Will. This is incorrect. And no, marrying Will was not the mistake. The preposition with is incorrect. We don't say with in this sentence. What should it be instead? It should be to. I'm married to Will. No mistakes there. To identify our husband or wife, we use the structure married to. He's been married to Alice for 50 years. She got married to her long-term partner last week. Now, I often hear a common pronunciation mistake with married. Lots of my students try to use 3 syllables. They say married, but it's married with 2. We can also say we're married to something figuratively. This means someone is extremely committed to something and so involved with it that they don't have time for anything else. For example, Ellie is married to her job. She works all the time. However, you might have heard married with used in a correct way before. You will see married with children as a phrase. This means a person is married and has children. Think of it as married with children. Ken is married with 3 children. He's married to someone and he has 3 children. It's very important not to mix up married to and married with in this case. I'm sure you can understand. Okay, common mistake number 4 is in these sentences. I wonder if you can spot it. She explained me the rules. Can you explain him how this works? So explain me or explain him is not right. Explain is not generally followed directly by a person, whether that's an object pronoun like me or him, or a noun referring to a person. It is not, she explained John the rules, or he explains people the history of the building. Let's correct it together. You can explain something. So explain can be followed by a noun that is not a person. She explained the rules. Pete explains difficult concepts clearly. We can use adjectives before the noun, like in difficult concepts. If you want to mention a person, you can explain to somebody. It's hard to explain to people who aren't in the industry. Now, often there's a noun after explain. For example, she explained the situation to us. Or, will you explain it to me? It is an object pronoun, but it refers to a thing, not a person. Now, explain can be intransitive, meaning it doesn't always require an object. For example, please let me explain, not let me explain you. We follow explain with a clause beginning with the words how, who, where, what, when, or why. For example, the boss explained who each person is and what they do. Or, please explain why you haven't finished yet. We also have the structure explain to somebody what, who, how, and so on. For example, Ian explained to us what he was doing. And we can use explain plus the that clause. He explained that he hadn't been feeling well. So stop saying, please explain me, and choose one of the many other structures we can use instead. Okay, we have reached common mistake number 5. Can you spot it in this sentence? I don't know. Where is Diego? So the problem here is with the word order. It should be, I don't know where Diego is. Most of my students see where or another similar WH question word and immediately switch the subject-verb order of the words after it from a statement to a question. For example, where is Diego? It's correct, but with I don't know at the beginning, the sentence becomes an indirect or embedded question, and we should have a statement word order, subject plus verb. I don't know where Diego is. Here are a couple more examples of indirect questions. I don't know who she was. Or, I wonder who's coming. We don't use a question mark when the introductory phrase has a subject-verb word order. This is the case with I don't know and I wonder. We can also use introductory phrases like do you know or could you tell me to create indirect questions. We use a question mark because the introductory phrases have a question word order, verb plus subject. For example, do you know where Helena is? Where Helena is, not where is Helena. Could you tell me what time it is? What time it is, not what time is it. Okay, those are the 5 mistakes. Now it's time for a quiz. If you get 5 out of 5 on this, it's exceptional. You've really been paying attention because some of these concepts are really quite tricky. Question number 1, complete the gap. Ethan is married. Joanne, is it with or to? It's to. We say you are married to someone. We only use married with to talk about a married person who has children. 2. Is this sentence grammatically correct? Can you explain the plot of the film to me? Yes, it is. Explain can be followed directly by a noun, not a person, and then to somebody. Remember, we can't say explain me the plot. Number 3, correct the mistake. Is it going to rain today? I think yes. So I think so is probably the most common option, but you could also say, I think it is, or even just yes. Number 4, correct the mistake. We don't know who is Beth. It should be, we don't know who Beth is. After we don't know, we use a subject-verb order in the next clause. Okay, the final one. Complete the gap. Is that thing called? It's what. What's that thing called? Remember, we use what, not how in questions to ask for specific information about something or somebody, including for names. And do you remember that really cool word I taught you? Whatchamacallit. First, can you spot 2 mistakes in this sentence? It depend of the weather. It depend of the weather. 2 mistakes to identify here. Well, firstly, it should be it depends with an S on the end. Depends. Remember, with he, she, and it, we usually add S to the verb. The second mistake, the preposition of is also incorrect. Which preposition should it be? It should be on. It depends on. Now, I strongly recommend learning this phrase together as a chunk. Learn all 3 words together. It depends on. It depends on the weather. Make sure you use the voiced z sound. Zon. It depends on. This phrase can be followed by a noun like weather or a clause starting with a word like how, who, or where. For example, it depends on who is coming. In informal English, it's common to drop on before WH words. For example, it depends where you're going. In formal English, you should always use on or upon. That's another option, though it's less common and more formal. It depends upon how much funding the project receives. In answers to questions, we can simply say, it depends, or even just depends in casual conversation, missing the subject altogether. Are you coming tonight? It depends. I'll see how I feel. Or, depends. I'm pretty tired. Okay, next, mistake number 2. Let's look at fun versus funny. My students tend to use funny when they actually mean fun. Which of these sentences is more likely? My holiday in Greece was really funny and I didn't want it to end. Or, we watched a comedy show yesterday. It was really funny. The second one is more likely. Funny means making you laugh, like a comedy show. The first is possible. You could have a really funny holiday. Maybe you laughed the whole way through. But the second is more likely. Another example, Stephen's so funny. He's always making us laugh. Now, in informal English, fun is used as an adjective to describe something that you enjoy. So you could say, my holiday in Greece was really fun. Fun is more often used as an uncountable noun, meaning that something or someone is entertaining or enjoyable. You might say, my holiday in Greece was so much fun. Or, we had great fun together at the fair. You'll often hear, have fun, but we never say, have funny, okay? Have fun means enjoy yourself. Are you ready for common mistake number 3? It's a question I often hear my students ask. Are you fine? Is it incorrect? Well, grammatically, it's okay, but it's not something British English speakers tend to say when asking how someone is or how they feel. In other varieties of English, it might be more common, so listen out for it. But in British English, what do we say instead? We usually just say, how are you? How are you doing? Or how is it going? People often say, are you fine? Because the common answer to how are you is I'm fine, thanks. But we only tend to use fine in positive answers rather than questions. Here's a correct example. How's your wrist? I heard you sprained it. It's fine now, thanks. Another similar common mistake is I hope you're fine. So I see that a lot in emails. People usually want to say, I hope you're well. As in, hi Lucy, I hope you're well. I'm writing to say blah, 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 blah. It's also correct to say, are you okay? If you're asking if someone is feeling okay or you're worried that they don't feel okay. Are you fine is just not something we tend to say. Number 4, can you correct this super common mistake? You have to listen your teacher. Listen to. You have to listen to your teacher. We listen to somebody or something. We can't just listen somebody. An example, I love listening to podcasts while I'm exercising. Or, sorry, I wasn't listening to you. Not listening music or listen you. I can't tell someone to listen me. They listen to me. Now, I understand where the confusion comes from. We do hear something or hear someone. We don't use to there. For example, I can't hear you. Or can you hear the bird song? So, we hear something or someone, but we listen to something or someone. Now, our final mistake is to do with confusing the verbs to lose, to miss, and to waste. First, a note on pronunciation. It's lose with a long oo sound and a voiced z at the end, not loose. Loose, meaning not tight, is spelt with 2 O's. Lose, with the z at the end, is spelt with 1 O. Okay, now I want you to use each of these verbs, lose, miss, and waste, to complete the gaps. Once each, okay? 1. I can't believe our flight yesterday. 2. We were late because a lot of time scraping ice off the car. And 3. Every day she so much time scrolling on social media. Oh, I can relate to that. The first one should be missed. The second, lost. And the third should be wastes. Let's look at lose and miss as a pair first. So many of my students tell me that they lost their flight when they mean the flight took off or left without them. To say you lose your flight is a mistake. We use miss when we arrive too late for something or we are too late for something. We miss trains, planes, and buses. We miss the start of films and we miss deadlines and all kinds of other things. Some examples: we missed the beginning of the film because we missed the bus. Now, lose just isn't used with this meaning, but lose time and waste time can both be correct. And if you look in learners' dictionaries, you will often see waste defined as lose and vice versa. There is a lot of crossover, but sometimes one is more appropriate than the other. I'm going to do this part as a voiceover so you can see these verbs side by side. Here is something I hear a lot. She loses a lot of time on social media. What they really mean is she wastes time. If you waste time, you use your time badly. There's a sense that you are in control of how you spend your time and you choose to do something unproductive. Another example, don't waste time arguing with him. He's already made up his mind. Don't spend your time doing something unproductive. we'll look at our example sentence with lose again. We were late because we lost a lot of time scraping ice off the car. Were they using their time badly when they were scraping ice off their car? No, it was a productive thing to do. You can't see if your car is covered in ice. If you lose time, time is taken away from you, perhaps because of delays, problems, or accidents. The situation is often out of your control. Here's another example. We lost time when the computer system crashed and had to be restarted. Let's see a couple of pairs of sentences to cement the difference. They lost time during the meeting because the video link kept cutting out. This was out of their control. They wasted time discussing things that weren't on the agenda. This was within someone's control. And another, we lost half an hour during the flight due to turbulence. No one's fault. The passengers wasted 10 minutes complaining instead of trying to rebook their missed flight. That was the passenger's decision. Okay, let's switch back to the video again. So, those were the 5 common mistakes. Let's see how much you remember with a quiz. Some of these sentences contain a mistake. If they do, correct it. Number 1, I arrived late and lost my train. This is incorrect. It should be I missed my train. If we arrive too late, we miss something. 2, it's so fun to try new recipes together every weekend. No mistake, it's so fun is fine, but not it's so funny unless it's really hilarious. It doesn't really work with the context here. Remember, we often use fun as a noun. So how might you change the sentence to do that? You could say, it's so much fun, or it's great fun. Number 3, what time will you arrive? It depends of the traffic. So 2 mistakes here. It should be, it depends on. That's the right verb agreement and the correct preposition. 4, I'm listening Taylor Swift's new album. Incorrect. Listening to her new album. We always listen to something or someone. And 5, we lost 20 minutes changing a tyre when we got a flat. This one's fine. You lose time when doing something useful like changing a tyre. Something that was out of your control. You had to change that tyre. That definitely wouldn't be a waste of time unless there's nothing wrong with the original tyre. Number 1, can you spot the mistake in this sentence? It's a 2 hours drive. So that was sneaky of me because there are actually 2 mistakes. One is a basic mistake and the other is a more advanced mistake. Let's see if you can identify both. So 2 hours describes the drive. It's an adjective. Do we pluralize adjectives in English? 1 red apple, 2 reds apples? No, we don't. We do not pluralize adjectives in English. So we need to remove the S. Now, I understand that the number 2, or anything higher than 2, tricks your brain into adding an S. But stop. Resist the urge. Also, the second mistake is that we should have a hyphen, a little dash between 2 and hour. It's a 2-hour drive. So here are some similar mistakes my students have made in the past. That's a 5 minutes walk away. Incorrect. That's a 5-minute, with the hyphen, walk away. Let me show you another, and you have a go at correcting it first, then I'll tell you the answer. We had a 3 weeks holiday in Spain. Lucky them, but it's not quite right. It should be a 3-week holiday in Spain with a hyphen. That sounds like my idea of heaven. Shall we try another? I've got a £50 note. Again, lucky them. I hardly ever see one of those. But it should be a £50 note. So remember, we don't pluralize an adjective when we describe things like duration, distance, or amount, no matter how high the number goes. Let's move on to mistake number 2, which is correct. Kyle enjoyed the holiday in spite of the rainy weather, or Kyle enjoyed the holiday despite of the rainy weather. Which one do you think? It is the first one. The first one is correct. It is in spite of or just despite with no of. So it should be despite the rainy weather. And notice that it's pronounced despite, with the stress on the second syllable, not despite. Despite. Now, these expressions are used to say that something surprising happens or something surprising is true. In spite of is slightly more informal than despite. Another example. Despite being afraid of heights, Ravi still went skydiving. With in spite of, it would be in spite of being afraid of heights. If you would like to learn some patterns we use after despite and in spite of, I've included them in the PDF. Click on the link in the description box to download it for free, or if you like a QR code, scan that there. Another very common mistake I see is people writing in spite, all as one word. It is in space, spite, space, of. 3 separate words. Despite appears alone, just one word. Okay, I hope that's clear for you. Let's move on to our third common mistake. Can you spot it? She said me she was tired. So the mistake is using say me. We don't say somebody something. But how could we correct that sentence? Well, we could remove me. She said she was tired. Or we could change said to told and keep me. She told me she was tired. So we tend to say something, but tell somebody something. Now, I think you can correct this sentence. Have a go. He didn't say me where he was going. Okay, 2 options here. You could have he didn't say where he was going, or he didn't tell me where he was going. But what if we want to use a person with say? Like here, we said goodbye, everyone, before we left. What would we put in that gap? We would put to. We said goodbye to everyone before we left. We say something to somebody. What did you just say to me, for example? So some of the most common structures are say something, say who, what, where, and so on, and say something to somebody. I hope that's nice and clear. You'll have lots more to practice with in the PDF. Okay, number 4, win versus earn. So many of my students confuse these words, and I totally understand why. It might be because in your first language, there's only one word representing these 2 words in English. Let's take a look at a sentence. I want you to tell me which word is correct. She wins a good salary, or she earns a good salary? She earns a good salary is correct. My students tend to use win too often and seem to forget about earn. So, what is the difference? Well, we generally use win when we get something because of luck or in a competition. For example, Heather won £10 on the lottery, or we won first prize in the baking competition. We use earn when we get money from a job. Heather earns £30,000 a year as a teacher. Or we use it to say we make a profit from a business or investment. The company earned $4 million last year. Win and earn have more closely related meanings too. For example, win can mean to get something you want, particularly because of the effort you put in. You might win somebody's support, or you might win a contract in business. Kelly won a lot of support by promising lower taxes. Or we won the contract despite stiff competition. Remember, not despite of competition, despite competition. Now, we wouldn't tend to say earn in those sentences. Win collocates more strongly with support and a contract. But to earn can also mean to get something we deserve, although it sometimes collocates with different nouns. After running 20 kilometers, she definitely earned a rest, or the team earned the right to play in the final. Now, in those sentences, we wouldn't use win. Sometimes we can use win and earn with little or no difference in meaning, particularly with words like trust, respect, and reputation. Some examples: he won the respect of his colleagues with his brave speech. Won or earned would be fine there. Or Alex has earned a reputation for being reliable. Alex has won a reputation for being reliable would also be fine there. All right, let's move on to our final common mistake: mixing up to meet, to get to know, and to know. We will go through each meaning first. Let's start with to meet. To meet means to see or be introduced to someone for the first time. For example, I met my husband at a party. To get to know means to gradually become familiar with someone or something. For example, I got to know him over the next few months. To know means to be familiar with someone or something. I already knew his brother because he was in my class at school. So a common mistake I hear from my students when they're going or have been on holiday is, I met the culture. I knew the culture. We don't meet something in this context. And know is simply the wrong word choice here, as it sounds like you had complete knowledge of the culture. My students usually mean to say this: I got to know the culture. I gradually became more familiar with it. We could say, I met lots of new people and got to know the culture. I also hear my students saying things like this: I know him more and more. Here again, we would usually use get to know. I'm getting to know him. I'm getting to know him better. Those are the most natural ways to say that you're becoming more familiar with someone. Okay, those are our 5 common mistakes. It's now time to check what you've learnt with a quiz. There are 5 questions in total. I'll give you a few seconds to think, but use the pause button if you need more time. Number 1, choose the correct option. John, $40,000 a year working in a bank. Is it wins or earns? It should be earns. Remember, when we talk about the money we make at work, we use earn, not win. Okay, question 2. Is there a mistake in this sentence? If there is, correct it. Despite of wearing flip-flops, Lucy somehow managed to win the three-legged race. A three-legged race, it's when two people race together, but their inside legs are tied together, making 3 legs in total. Now, is there a mistake? Yes, there is a mistake. You could correct it in 2 ways. You could remove of, or you could use in spite instead of despite. Remember, we don't use of after despite. Okay, number 3. Choose the best option. Over time, your colleagues better. Is it meet, get to know, or no? The best option here is get to know. And remember, this means become familiar with someone or something gradually over a period of time. Now, you could technically use know here, but it's less natural and it suggests the process is finished. Okay, question 4. Is there a mistake in this sentence? If there is, correct it. My school is a 10 minutes drive from here. Yep, there's a mistake. 2 mistakes. It should be a 10-minute drive with a hyphen between 10 and minute. Remember, 10-minute is a compound adjective and we don't pluralize adjectives in English. Okay, finally, number 5. Do we need something in this gap? She didn't say anything. Me. Yep, we need to. She didn't say anything to me. We say something to someone. Okay, first, can you spot an issue with this sentence? I'm so boring. Well, it's grammatically correct, but it's most likely not what people usually want to say. This is by far one of the most common mistakes I hear from my students. They usually mean, I'm so bored, as in, I feel bored. Not, I'm boring, as in, I make other people feel bored. The mistake here is mixing up ed and ing adjectives. Adjectives that end in ed describe how someone feels. Adjectives that end in ing describe what causes the feeling. So, I'm interested means I feel interested. The film is interesting means that the film is creating interest. It's making me feel interested. A couple more examples. The students were confused by the confusing instructions, or we're tired after that tiring journey. Now, we don't usually describe ourselves as confusing or tiring. That wouldn't be very nice. We've got to be kind to ourselves. Okay, mistake number 2. Can you correct this sentence? I'll see you on next Monday. Well, it could be I'll see you on Monday or I'll see you next Monday, but never on next Monday. You have to choose between on or next. It's easy to see why this mistake happens. You learn that you use on before days, on Monday, on Friday. So it's logical that you'd make the mistake of saying on next Monday. I hear the same error with months. I started my new job in last January. It can either be in January or last January, but not in last January. So here's the rule. We don't tend to use in, on, or at directly before words like next, last, this, and every. These words already position us in time, so we don't need 2 prepositions doing the same job. Let's do a quick review of on, at, and in while we're here. We use on before days, dates, and special days. The meeting is on Wednesday, not on next Wednesday, on Wednesday. His birthday is on the 22nd of December. We eat turkey on Christmas Day. Not on every Christmas Day, on Christmas Day, or every Christmas Day. We use at with times, holiday periods, and specific moments. For example, the train leaves at 2. Or, what do you like doing at Christmas? The whole holiday period, not just one day. Or, I woke up at sunrise. Now, in British English, we also say at the weekend. On the weekend is more common in North American English. Finally, we use in for months, years, decades, centuries, seasons, and longer periods. For example, I was born in June. Disco was popular in the 70s. The flowers in the park are beautiful in spring. We also say in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, but at night. I know prepositions like this can be a bit confusing, but don't worry, I have solved that problem for you in your free copy of my 35 Common Mistakes ebook. I've clearly organised these prepositions with simple explanations and plenty of extra examples. You can download that now for free by clicking the link in the description box or scanning that QR code there. I truly think you'll love it. We spent a lot of time making it perfect. Okay, common mistake number 3. Can you see it in this sentence? We need to discuss about the proposal. It should be discuss the proposal. We don't use a preposition after discuss. Here, it's followed directly by an object, the proposal. So we can discuss something. For example, let's discuss your ideas. We can discuss what, who, when, and so on. We need to discuss what happened. And we can discuss doing something. We didn't discuss hiring anyone new. Okay, those are some of the most common structures we use, but why do so many of my students say discuss about? Well, I think there are several reasons. 1, it's often a transfer from your first language. 2, we say talk about and speak about. So discuss about seems logical, but unfortunately it's not correct. And 3, we say have a discussion about. The noun form discussion is followed by about. So for all of those reasons, discuss about is one of the mistakes I hear the most often from my students. Okay, let's look at mistake number 4 in this sentence. This phone is more better than my old one. So we just need to remove a word again. It's not more better, it's just better. This phone is better than my old one. So what's going on here? Well, we add more to many regular adjectives to form the comparative. Beautiful, more beautiful. Stressful, more stressful. But good is an irregular adjective and the comparative form is better, not more better. Bad is also an irregular adjective. Do you know the comparative form? It's worse. I feel worse today than I did yesterday. And remember, comparatives are often followed by than, usually pronounced with the weak form than. Worse than, better than. Here are 2 more mistakes I see with comparatives. My brother's more old than me. We're more happier than before. So we should add er to 1-syllable adjectives and 2-syllable adjectives that end in y. So it should be older and happier without more. Okay, last mistake now. This is mistake number 5. Try to correct this sentence. I hadn't got time to buy him a present yesterday. The issue is with hadn't got. To talk about the past, we use had or didn't have. I didn't have time to buy him a present yesterday. Let's take a closer look. Have got is a present tense form used for possession, relationships, necessity, and so on. In British English, we can often use have or have got interchangeably in the present. Have got is slightly more informal and it's very common, particularly in speech. So we can say, I don't have a pen, or I haven't got a pen, or we have to go, or we've got to go. One more example. Do you have enough money? Have you got enough money? Have got isn't common in North American English. They tend to simply use have. Now, to talk about the past, both British and North American speakers use had or didn't have. Never had got, hadn't got, or didn't have got. Some correct examples. I didn't have a pen yesterday. We had to go. Did you have enough money? Okay, those were our 5 common mistakes. Now it is time to take the quiz. Correct the mistakes in these sentences. 1. I'm interested in history. 2. See you on next weekend. 3. Let's discuss about what to do. 4. You look more happier today. And 5. I hadn't got enough money for a taxi. Pause the video now if you need time to think. Let's go through the answers. Number 1 should be interested. We use an adjective ending in ed to say how something makes us feel. History makes you feel interested because history is interesting. 2. We don't need on before next. You could say, see you on the weekend, which is common in North American English. In number 3, we need to delete about. We don't use a preposition after discuss. Number 4 should be, you look happier. Happier is the comparative form of happy, not more happier or more happy. And finally, it should be, I didn't have. We can't use have got in past tenses. Can you spot the mistake here? According to me, this is the best solution. Well, we don't tend to say according to me. We use according to when we talk about other people's opinions or when we refer to evidence in official reports or articles. So we could say, according to Marie, this is the best solution. Marie said that. Make sure to use the weak form of to, before consonant sounds. According to Marie. According to Marie. Before vowel sounds, English speakers often insert a soft w sound to glide smoothly between to and the next word. According to Oliver. According to Oliver. Now, you don't have to do this, but try it because it might make it easier to say. Here's another example with the soft w sound. According to a recent survey, the British sense of humour is what draws lots of Europeans to UK TV programmes. Let's go back to our first sentence now. If I want to give my own opinion, what phrases can I use instead of according to me? Well, we have I think, in my opinion, or in my view. Those last two are a bit more formal. I really like in my view. In my view. It just sounds good. I think this is the best solution. In my opinion, we need more time. Now notice that we don't say according to us either because that's still referring to my opinion. So you could say we think or in our view. I've put a lot more natural phrases to give your opinion in the ebook that goes with this lesson. So make sure you download that. The link's in the description or you can scan that QR code there. Okay, mistake number 2. Try to correct this sentence here. We're making a party for Sarah's birthday. So we don't say make a party. Now I know that in quite a few other languages, make a party or do a party is correct. But those aren't the right collocations in English. Instead, we say have a party or throw a party. We're having or we're throwing a party for Sarah's birthday. Have a party is the most common collocation. We're having a party next Saturday. They had a party to celebrate their anniversary. Throw a party is more informal and we sometimes use it when we organise a party for someone else. A couple of examples, let's throw a party for her promotion. Or they threw a huge party at their new house. So next time, have a party or throw a party, but don't make a party and don't do a party either. Okay, number 3, I hear my students say this all the time. Where is the mistake here? I'm agree with you. It should just be I agree with you, never I am agree. I also hear my students ask this question. Try to correct it. Are you agree? That should be do you agree? So what's happening here? Well, many of my students think that agree is an adjective, so they naturally use be before it. But agree is a verb, and it's a state verb, so we don't generally use it in continuous tenses either. I agree with you, not I am agreeing with you. Does he agree, not is he agreeing. Note that you can say in agreement. I am in agreement with the contract. Are we all in agreement with the terms? There's more about this topic in the ebook. We also have some of the structures we can use after agree. Okay, common mistake number 4, correct this sentence. I'm going to home now. It should be I'm going home without to. And I totally understand why so many of my students say to home. You go to school and you go to work. They are correct. Where does she go to school? I'm getting the train to work today. But home is special. With movement verbs like go, come, or get, home functions as an adverb, so we don't use a preposition. As a general rule, we don't use prepositions before adverbs. A couple of examples. He came home late. Not he came to home late. He came home late. Or what time did you get home? Not get to home. Get home. We also don't use a preposition when we say make it home or be home. For example, did you make it home okay in the snow? Or we'll be home soon. And notice here that be still carries the idea of movement or travel. Okay, let's move on to the last mistake. This is a tricky one. I wonder if you can spot it here. This is one of the best place I know. It should be this is one of the best places I know. Places in the plural, and well done if you got that. It's really easy to see why this structure causes confusion. One automatically makes you think you need a singular noun. But when we say one of, it should be followed by a plural because we're referring to one of a group of things. I often hear the mistake with superlatives. It should be one of the superlative plural noun. That was one of the worst flights I've ever experienced. That was one of the worst flights I've ever experienced. Or this is one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen. This is one of the most beautiful views I've ever seen. You can use a comparative instead of superlative. She's one of the better students in the class. You need to remember to use a plural in sentences like this too. That's one of my favourite shops in London. Not shop. One of my favourite shops. Okay, let's do a little quiz to check what you've learnt. I'll give you these 5 sentences. They all contain mistakes. Try to correct them. I'll read them out, then you can pause to think. 1. Are you going to make a party for your birthday? 2. Arabic is one of the hardest language to learn for English speakers. 3. According to us, you handled the problem well. 4. When are you going to home? And 5. Are you agree with me? I'll give you 5 seconds. Pause if you need more time. Okay, number 1 should be have a party or throw a party. Make a party is not a strong collocation. 2 should be one of the hardest languages in the plural. Note that I said languages with z, not s. Languages. Languages. Remember, it's one of plus plural. 3, we don't say according to us or according to me. There are lots of ways to correct that one. We think, or in our opinion, or in our view, are fine. Number 4, when are you going home? Don't use to before home. And 5, it should be, do you agree? Agree is a state verb, not an adjective. Can you spot the mistake in this sentence? Probably, I'll go out tonight. Now, we don't usually use probably at the beginning of a sentence. It just doesn't sound natural. But where should it go? Well, some adverbs of certainty, like probably, possibly, certainly, and definitely, usually go directly before the main verb. We call this the mid position. So it should be, I'll probably go out tonight. Go is the main verb. Will is the auxiliary. Now, with the negative contracted form won't, the order is different. It is incorrect to say, I won't probably go out tonight. Instead, it's I probably won't go out tonight. I probably won't speak to him again today. Try to learn these chunks. Try to remember them. I'll probably, I probably won't. Now, a note on pronunciation here. It's very important. Probably can be pronounced with 3 syllables. Probably. But many speakers will reduce it to just 2 in fast speech. Probably. I'll probably go. Let's see some more examples. I probably need more time. We can't possibly finish decorating the flat in 2 days. Now, an exception. This is English. We love exceptions. When the main verb is to be, these adverbs usually appear after it. As in, this is probably the best restaurant in the neighbourhood. We can use these adverbs alone in short answers. Are you going out tonight? Yeah, probably. Do you think it'll rain? Possibly. Who knows? Now, take a look at the ebook, the free ebook, to learn about the positions of other adverbs of certainty. You can scan the QR code there, or the link is in the description box. Okay, for our second common mistake, we have another word order problem. Can you spot it here? It's a quite big house. Well, it should be, it's quite a big house. Now, I think I understand why my students make this mistake. I think they copy the position of very. Both of these sentences are correct. It's very big, it's quite big. Very or quite plus adjective. But, and here's the issue, the words behave differently when the adjective comes before a noun. Listen, it's a very big house. It's quite a big house. Quite goes before the article, adjective, and noun. Again, it's a good idea to memorize and repeat chunks. It's quieter. He's quieter. That was quieten, for example. Notice how the t sound at the end of quite joins the vowel sound quieter, quieten. Now, when you're in conversation and want to add specific details, it should be easier. He's quite a talented musician. That was quite an interesting lecture. Very, really, and pretty all follow a different structure. A plus very, really, or pretty plus adjective plus noun. It's a really good film. She had a pretty unusual name. Okay, let's move on to mistake number 3 now. We're sticking with word order. Word order is tough, but we're really going to focus on it today. Can you correct this sentence? I ate the 3 last biscuits. Now, I hear things like this all the time, but it should be, I ate the last 3 biscuits. That's a tough pronunciation challenge, isn't it? Last 3, the t and then last 3 biscuits. We would actually elide the t sound in last and say last 3 biscuits to make it a little bit easier. Now, If you say the 3 last biscuits, there is no communication problem. People will understand what you mean, so don't get stressed about this. But if you can correct all of the word order mistakes we're looking at today, you'll sound more natural and more fluent. I think it's a mistake that's worth correcting nice and early so that you don't have to correct it when you're at C1, C2 level and it's embedded in your brain. Here's a similar mistake I've heard before. The 2 first chapters are quite slow. Perfectly understandable, but it should be the first 2 chapters are quite slow. Why? Well, in English, words like first, last, next, and past come before a number. A couple more sentences. I'm booked solid for the next 3 weeks, not the 3 next weeks, the next 3 weeks. Or she's been to Edinburgh twice in the past 6 months, not the 6 past months. We also use this word order with other phrases like the first few or the past several. I only watched the first few minutes, not the few first minutes. Or it's been sunny for the past several days, not the several past days. Take a look at the ebook to see even more examples and another word that follows this pattern. We're moving away from word order. So what's wrong with this sentence? I saw everything which happened. Which isn't very natural. And if you think it should be what, I'm afraid that's not right either. The best choice is that. I saw everything that happened. Now, after words like everything, anything, nothing, and all, we tend to use the relative pronoun that to introduce defining relative clauses. These clauses give us essential information. We don't usually use which after those words. For example, is there anything that I can do to help? Or there's nothing that we can do now. Or they are all that matters. In speech, we can leave out that if it's the object of the relative clause. For example, is there anything I can do to help? There's nothing we can do now. But we can't do it with they're all matters. That is the subject of the clause. Take a look at the ebook for an exception to this rule. You can scan that QR code there or click the link in the description box. It's free to download. Now, what is not a traditional relative pronoun, so we don't use it to introduce a relative clause. This sentence is considered grammatically incorrect, though you will hear it in some dialects. I saw everything what happened. I recommend using that unless you're specifically trying to use a dialect that uses what instead of that. Okay, we're on to the final sentence. Is this a mistake? I cut my hair. Well, the answer is maybe. I cut my hair is a grammatically correct sentence that means I cut my own hair. I took a pair of scissors and chopped. Now, in my case, that would be a big mistake. I prefer to go to a hairdresser. So how would I say that? I had my hair cut, or I got my hair cut. This is called a causative structure. Have or get plus object plus past participle. To have something done or to get something done. It's used when someone else does something for us, usually a paid service. Can you repair your own car? If the answer is no, use the causative. I had my car repaired yesterday. A mechanic did it. Would you paint your own house? I mean, it actually sounds like fun, but I'm not sure it would look very good if I did it. So I might say, we're having the house painted next month. A professional painter is doing it. Notice that only have or get change tense. We always use the past participle after the object. We can use the same structure to say that something bad happened to us, usually when we didn't cause the bad thing to happen. For example, I had my wallet stolen last night. Or she got her car broken into. Someone did these things to us. Again, there are more examples with the causative. in the ebook. It's quite a useful structure to learn. It's a really useful structure. Okay, we have time for a little quiz before we finish the lesson. Some of these sentences contain mistakes. If there is a mistake, correct it. I'll read them out for you. 1. Who ate the 2 last slices of pizza? 2. She told me nothing that I didn't know already. 3. I'm having a tooth taken out tomorrow. 4. We had a quite good meal at that restaurant. And 5. Probably she'll help. I'll give you 5 seconds, but pause if you need more time. Okay, number 1 contained a mistake. It should be the last 2 slices of pizza. Remember, we put words like last and first before numbers in English. The second sentence was correct. We usually use nothing that in relative clauses, not nothing which or nothing what. Number 3 was also correct. I definitely wouldn't want to take my own tooth out. So the causative structure, meaning someone else will do it, is right. Number 4 was incorrect. It should be we had quite a good meal. Remember, it's quite plus article, adjective, noun. And number 5 also had a mistake. The most natural way to say this is she'll probably help, with probably before the main verb. Okay, let's begin. For our first common mistake, we're looking at in the end versus at the end. Even higher level learners confuse these phrases, and why wouldn't you? It's just a tiny change of preposition, just 2 letters. So which one do we need to complete this sentence? In or at? The end, we decided to stay at home. It should be in the end, meaning finally or eventually, usually after a period of time, thought, or difficulty. Now, this is a fixed idiomatic phrase referring to the final result or decision. It's not used to talk about the literal or metaphorical end of something like a road or a film. Let's see 2 more examples. In the end, we decided to move to London after a long time thinking about it. Or it was difficult, but in the end, everything worked out. Finally, after some problems. Now, at the end refers to the final point in time or space of something specific. It's more literal than in the end. It can be followed by of plus a noun. So if we go back to the sentence in the introduction, we now know that it should be there's a surprise at the end of the film, not in the end. A couple more examples. I'm always tired at the end of the week, on Fridays, for example. Or the station is at the end of this road. Okay, mistake number 2, try to correct this sentence. I am again unemployed. It should be I'm unemployed again. So we tend to place again at the end of a clause, not in the middle. This might be different to your first language. In these examples, it means one more time. For example, can you start the video again, please? Or we won't see each other again. Now, you'll sometimes see again before the main verb. This is more formal than placing again at the end and is done for emphasis. For even greater emphasis, we can add yet. Yet again. She yet again changed the project brief. Now, again and yet again can also appear at the beginning for emphasis. Yet again, the train was delayed. But we don't place it before an adjective, so I'm again tired is not correct. It's tricky to get this right, but if you're in doubt, placing again after the clause is a safe bet, as it's the most common neutral option. Don't worry if this doesn't seem totally clear. We go into more detail and there are more examples in the ebook. Scan the QR code there or click the link in the description to download your free copy. Okay, mistake number 3 is one of the mistakes I've heard most over the years. Do you like coffee? Yes, I like. Now, unfortunately, that is not how we make short answers. We will understand you if you say this. It's not a communication issue, but if we want to be grammatically correct, we should say, yes, I do. When replying to short questions, we make yes or no short answers with an auxiliary verb, the same one that's in the question, not with the main verb. Did they enjoy the party? Yes, they did. Not yes, they enjoyed. Has he visited Liverpool before? No, he hasn't. Not no, he hasn't visited. Now, you can give a full answer if you want to, though this is less common in natural speech. To like is a transitive verb, so it needs an object. Do you like coffee? Yes, I like it. Or yes, I like coffee. It's more common to use the pronoun rather than the noun to avoid repetition. You can also just say yes, which makes things much easier, but never yes, I like. Sometimes intransitive verbs can be used alone in replies. Did he laugh? Yes, he laughed. We usually only say this for emphasis. For example, oh, he laughed, as in he laughed a lot. Generally, it's more natural to say, yes, he did. Now, this is something that trips even advanced learners up. So don't worry if you still make this mistake. Okay, mistake number 4, try to correct this sentence. That's the reason because I left. Now, the easiest way is to simply remove because. That's the reason I left. You could also replace because with that or why. But we don't say the reason because I did something. So one way to use reason correctly is by following it with why or that plus a clause. That's the reason why we cancelled the trip. In informal English, you can omit why or that. The reason she left early was to get to her flight. Not the reason because she left or was because to get her flight. There are lots of other structures we can use after reason, but it's this particular one that my students make mistakes with. Because is used as a conjunction to join two clauses showing cause and effect. She left early because she needed to get her flight. Try to use the weak form when because appears as part of a sentence. Because with a schwa in the second syllable, not because. You can say it, but because sounds more natural. You'll often see because of followed by a noun. We cancelled the trip because of the weather. Okay, we're on to our final mistakes. Students and native speakers, listen up. Which word is contracted here? I should have studied harder. Is it should of or should have? It's I should have studied harder, not I should of studied harder. Now, I think people use of because when have is contracted after a consonant sound, it sounds the same as the weak form of. Have contracted. Of contracted, of. Should have, should have. Would have, would have. Could have, could have. That of sound tricks our brain into thinking it's of, and people make the mistake of saying it or writing it. In fast speech, we often use the informal contractions shoulda, woulda, and coulda, which don't sound like they contain have either. So the structure to form a clause with a past modal is modal verb plus have plus past participle. I should have called her. But in speech, we tend to use contractions. I should have called her. This makes your English sound more natural than if you use the full form. They would have bought it if it had been cheaper. You could have been hurt. We also use the same structure with other modal verbs like must and might. I hear must of and might of, but again, they're not correct. She must have already gone home. The dog might have eaten it. Okay, are you ready to test what you've learnt? I've got a short quiz for you. Complete the gaps with one word from the video lesson to form a structure we've looked at today. Here are the sentences. 1. The reason they're upset is the sudden change in plans. 2. What happened? The end of the film. I fell asleep. 3. Do you like pancakes? Yes, I. 4. You should gone to the doctor. And 5. I can't believe he's late for work. That's the 3rd time this week. I'll give you 5 seconds, but pause if you need more time. Okay, in number 1, we can have that or why, or we could just leave it blank. We can't use because. It doesn't join 2 clauses. 2 should be at the end, the literal end point of the film. 3, yes, I do, not yes, I like, which is grammatically incorrect. 4, you should have gone or you should have gone, not should of, which sounds the same in the short form but isn't correct. And number 5 should be again. He's late for work again, with again placed naturally at the end. Don't forget to download your ebook with 35 common mistakes and exactly how to correct them. It has another quiz so you can really practice what you've learnt. It's a massive ebook. I think you're going to love it, so take advantage of it being free. The link is in the description box, or you can scan the QR code there. I really hope you enjoyed today's lesson and that you learnt something. I will see you in the next one. Bye!